Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to invite you to another conversation about your Kundalini Awakening experience. In this conversation, I'd like to discuss what is Kundalini. Kundalini is a conscious energy within the base of the human spine. Okay. It resides in the last three vertebrae of the tailbone. The ancient Sanskrit people often described it as a serpent wrapped around an egg 3.5 times. Okay, so not being able to take a picture or a video of the actual conscious energy itself, what people typically do with regards to enlightenment, which is what Kundalini brings, and of the many phenomena that the Kundalini also brings, levitation, telekinesis, telepathy, just a whole suite of skill sets that the Kundalini will bring. From a picturesque point of view, Alex Gray has some very good pictures, so if you want to go to alexgray.com, you'll be able to see some pictures of the Kundalini. Look for the fire at the base of the spine. He draws some pretty accurate pictures of Kundalini infused individuals. The pictures that I have behind me right now of the Mary over here, Mary's right there, Christ is right there. These are two different depictions of a Kundalini infusion happening to a person. Both of these are of the 7th chakra. With Jesus, it's more of the halo. With Mary, it's more of the actual pinnacle of the achievement, where the energy is fountaining up and out over the individual and over the surrounding environment. Kundalini is an evolutionary force within us. It is there, and it guides our evolution. It guides us through all the difficult, hard choices that a person has to make in any given lifetime. It guides us in whether we procreate. It guides us in our proper or improper responses to given stimulus of an emotional nature or of a social nature. It will allow our ego to dominate our actions for a certain amount of time, and then it will begin to help the ego understand that it is no longer in charge. The ego is no longer in charge. And so it helps us to spiritually evolve within the biggest picture context. We do not stay stationary. As much as, and God bless them for the people who want to believe that, well, this is my one life, this is it, this is all I get, and that's fine. Good. For them, they need to understand that they have those very strict parameters of expression, and hopefully it helps them live a life that is grace-based and is loving and helpful, and within the communication of those expressions. For other people, we may be given a different understanding that we live a series of lives, that each life counts as a step towards our expression of enlightenment while we are in the body. And when the Kundalini comes to the living physical system within a person, that is the enlightenment upon the body. And it is really the premier step in having the body become a divine temple within the physical plane. So half the body is divine, the other half of the body is mundane, and so you have, as the Bible states, the flesh made divine, or the word made divine, or the divine upon the body. Kundalini is this bridge into the heavenly fields, into the divine matrix that created us to allow us to evolve to the point where we are able to detach the attachments we have made towards a physical expression, a continuous cycle of physical expressions in a body, in a physical body. So with that understanding, it will come up the spine, typically from the base of the spine to the top of the head, but sometimes from the top of the head down to the base of the spine. There are different combinations for different people that have different karma. Karma is the measuring device that is used by Kundalini to determine whether a person is ready in this lifetime to have the Kundalini awaken. So as the karma determines the levels of checks and balances that a person has attained through the different lifetime expressions, so will the Kundalini sculpt a person's life from infancy all the way up until a Kundalini event occurs. Kundalini will begin to sculpt that life, and typically it is not the easiest life. You know, there are some karmic odds and ends that need to be taken care of, and sometimes there's a lot of them. Okay, and so the early childhood of the individual may be a little more challenging than, say, someone who doesn't have those karmic appendages present for them. So with that in mind, as the Kundalini begins its ascent, it begins a transformation of all 5 of the human bodies of expression, which I named earlier. It will come to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th chakra, sometimes all at the same time, sometimes one at a time. It can be associated as a tidal flow. It'll come up the spine a little bit, infuse that area of the spine, and then recede. And then come up, do the same thing and recede. And then maybe come up a little further, infuse that, and then recede. This is not an uncommon sequence of awakening for an individual. Or it can just go right up the spine, over the top of the head, shooting out through the pineal gland and through the 6th chakra, which is seen as one would see in any of the depictions of the Egyptian pharaohs with the snake coming out of the head. Well, that's the Kundalini. That is the Kundalini Shakti coming from the top of the 3rd eye as the uraeus. And the uraeus is an indication of the divine flesh, the holy divinity within a physical body. Kundalini will invigorate each of the 7 chakras. I use a 7 chakra model. There are more chakras, but I feel this is the most accurate form of chakra examples. And it works with me, and it works with my Kundalini, and that is pretty much what I've been given to follow from my experiences with my Kundalini. So the 7 chakra model, with the base of the spine being the last 3 vertebrae of the tailbone, on up to about 1.5 inches below the navel for the 2nd chakra, at the sternum right below the xiphoid process for the 3rd chakra, and then of course the 4th chakra, which would be right there at the heart, 5th chakra in the throat, 6th chakra right here, and then the entire top of the skull would be the 7th chakra, or the crown chakra. As the Kundalini comes up, it begins to initiate transformation on each of those chakra areas. Those chakras represent nerve plexi that correspond with groupings of nerve that happen along the spinal column. So each chakra has a level of nervous center activity that when the Kundalini comes to that chakra, it will also infuse the nervous system of the individual. Okay, so there are many, many, many sequences of events that occur simultaneously with the Kundalini. It is not a 1 + 1 = 2 scenario. It can be a 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 and ad infinitum with the Kundalini as it makes its changes on the human body. Science has determined that the possible practical voltage for each cell is about a single volt per cell. In the human being, there's an approximate number of about 17 trillion cells for, say, the average person. And if you look at that as being 7 trillion volts of electrical potential, you can see the levels of power that the Kundalini is working with. And that's just with electricity. Kundalini is not electricity, although it can use the body's electricity in the performance of its agenda upon the human being. And once again, that agenda is the evolution of the soul while that soul is in a body. It is enlightenment upon the body in a very real and tactile way. Thanks for watching.